Most recently, Minister of Manpower Dr. Tan Silek announced that the government has introduced a new Graduate Industrial Traineeship or GRIT program to support graduates to gain industrial relevant experience and skill and facilitate their transition into full-time employment. The program ranges from 3 to 6 months and training opportunity in both public and private sectors. The trainee will also receive a monthly allowance ranging from 1,008 to 2,400. This program is also open to graduate from polytechnic and ITEs. This is a good initiative by the government to support undergraduate. However, there is this underlying issue. What is actually happening to the labour market? What is the wider implication to the Singapore economy as a whole? And lastly, how will it affect employability of Singaporeans? And how it will affect the property market going forward? Let's be real, property market is correlated with wages. You say I correct or not? Here, let LLB Koko share a view more. I came across this well-written article in the Straits Times. The title read, Singapore next phase of growth require a refreshed blueprint. New tools will be needed for Singapore to thrive in a world unpended by trade shocks and a coming AI disruption. For those that are keen, I have left the links in the description below. Firstly, this article mentioned about how AI has played a pivot role in reducing the need for workers, how it has made certain job functions redundant such as copywriting, data analysis, basic legal research to accounting functions. This has indirectly reduced the need of entry-level jobs. Anyway, employers should be very happy. Less expenses and increased productivity. This is what our government is calling for, correct? Moreover, with the advance of AI to generative AI and other forms in the future, I'm very sure more jobs could be replaced. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. So, let us all blame AI, right? Well, it's more than that. The second reason why undergraduates have a hard time finding job is because the higher institution of learning that they attend to have failed to produce graduates for the real working world today. Let me be very blunt on this. Schools have not transformed fast enough. They are still teaching the same old thing. From secondary school to poly to uni. Well, why do I say that? For example, my elder girl who is in secondary 2 is going through complex maths question. In my heart, I hardly use them. Not even once when I'm working. Maybe I'm not an engineer, but you get what I mean? That is why I urge all parents to watch this video. The future with AI means that AI will even be smarter than human. That is why scoring straight A's is no longer important. Children should be taught how to be street smart, ability to handle setback, having an entrepreneur mindset, and be resourceful instead. This is the real life skill they need in this brave new world today. Not extra tuition and enrichment lesson. That is why Singapore students can do very well in maths and science in international exam. But when they come to the next Sim Wong Hu, how many more years must we wait for more? I think it is very difficult. As most Singaporeans are indebted to rising housing loan, the future looks bleak to me. The third reason why mid-career Singaporeans are facing the hit goes to our liberal employment policy. Let's face it, we don't have enough talent. Walk into any construction site today, and I'm very sure a significant number of engineers are foreigners. They are either new citizens, PRs, E-Pass or S-Pass. Singaporeans avoid such jobs, working under the hot sun and in dangerous working environment, plus long working hours. That is why most engineering departments in university are filled with foreigners. Here, what if we stop issuing such passes to foreigners? Well, I'm very sure our BTO program to new condos will be delayed. Can you tahan? Some say employer adopt selective employment. That is why MOM have this compass framework. I know there is a lot of controversy on this. Here, I don't wish to elaborate more on this as it is beyond this channel. Anyway, most Singaporeans are generally happy. Correct? Hence, I don't want to hear any more complaint. The fourth and last reason is because of outsourcing. Have you noticed, once an employee can work from home during the pandemic, this has opened up a huge opportunity for employers to cut down on local hires since they are usually more expensive. One good example is this. A typical young graduate will command around $3,800 based on data from AI. In comparison, a young accounting undergraduate from Malaysia earn an average of 5,500 RM. This means I can employ 2.3 Malaysian for every Singaporean. If I'm the employer, why not? I can save a great deal in salary. Who cares if I employ the extra local? If I'm a businessman, profit making is my priority. That is why if you have noticed, this job that can be outsourced has been relocated overseas. There is a major outsource center all around Asia, especially in India and the Philippines. This means Singaporeans who are holding dearly to their past employment has seen their job outsourced abroad. This is the hard truth. That is why the government constantly encourages us to upskill. Seriously, we don't have a choice. The world is constantly changing. I am also constantly upskilling. In fact, till date, I have easily attended 7 courses with subsidies from SkillsFuture. Currently, I'm learning business Mandarin for real estate professionals. Don't play. In the next 8 weeks, I'm very sure my Mandarin will fly. The increasing undergraduate unemployment and job insecurity for mature workers who have a direct and severe impact on the property market. The residential property sector in Singapore is heavily reliant on a strong and stable household income. For most married graduates, the first form of housing is surely a HDB BTO flat that provide them with less anxiety on their housing needs. However, the mortgage installment will be a drag to their income. If they continue to have poor job prospect, the likelihood of upgrading will be slim. HDB owners always form the cornerstone of the private market. If HDB upgraders cannot afford to upgrade, they will preferably go for plus and prime BTO flats with a longer MOP period. The number of upgraders will reduce significantly. This means seniors who are holding on to their bigger HDB flat or private property cannot cash out. This will create a vicious cycle in the housing market. Sellers will have to sell cheaper to budget-conscious upgraders. The same goes for mid-career workers that are retrenched. This group usually have more financial commitment. The impact to them will be severe. This will lead to an increase in downgraders instead of upgraders. You get what I mean? Think about it if I talk sense here. As demand continues to weaken, property price, particularly in the HDB resale and mass market private segment, will face significant downward pressure. A sustained period of high unemployment or underemployment could burst the present property bubble. This could send ripples across the industry from HDB flats to private resale to new homes. The only sector that will remain unscattered is none other than the evergreen HDB BTO programs. In conclusion, the challenges of graduate unemployment in Singapore are not merely a passing cloud. This is a sign of deeper structural economic changes to the entire labour market, especially with the era of a new norm, with additional tariffs on Singapore export to the US. The increase in private hire drivers to more graduates become salesmen is already a telltale sign of the state of the labour market. The effect of AI, a mismatch of skill, foreign competition to outsourcing are the main cause of anxiety to the labour market, not only affecting the young but also to those that are currently in employment. No trade will be spared. However, if your job requires hands-on, then you are pretty safe. The ultimate cause of this employment crisis may well affect the property market, the bedrock of financial security for many families. Addressing this requires a multi-pronged approach, a fundamental rethink of education to focus on AI resilient skill, calibrated foreign workforce policy, incentive for companies to hire locally, and lastly, a potential recalibration of the property market to reflect the new reality. Property price has been extremely high in recent years. This has indirectly led to higher rental, higher business costs, and costs passed down to Singaporeans. If these are left unchecked, they could have a serious repercussion to this tiny red dot in this globalized world. Hope you enjoyed this sharing. Please help me like, share, and subscribe. See you again soon.